Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. Hello, Pam. It matters. Oh my God. Butter pecan is my favorite ice cream. That's what I've always gotten at Baskin Robbins. Hang on one second. Yeah, it's on mute. Okay. I broke out my laptop. I haven't used my laptop in 3 years. And I was actually going to go live from my laptop, but I don't think that it will film as well. The videos you watch on it are great, but I don't think it'll film as well. But to tell y'all about my I went and had my test injection for my SI joints on Thursday. And this is the first time that I've ever had a reaction. And your SI joints are like right above your butt crack. And when they shot me with the medication, they did it on the right and left side. But for some reason, hey, Charlie K, my right side had a reaction, and this big old bruised looking place, like a whelped up, and then it blistered up, and then it busted, and it looks nasty. So, that's going to prolong me getting my real injections in my SI joints because this is going to have to heal up first. And we're going to have to figure out what happened because it is a natural It can be a reaction to lidocaine, which they numb you with lidocaine before they do the injections. And I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's painful and it hurts. So, have y'all heard about Alex Jones? He has been ordered to pay the Sandy Hook victims $45 million for all that crap he did on his show, the Alex Jones Show, or InfoWars, if you want to refer to it as. You know, he put out that Sandy Hook was a hoax and all that, and he just would not let it go, and he really hurt those families, and they took him to court for defamation, and he's been ordered to pay them victims $45 million in defamation. So I used to like Alex Jones. I listened to him because he would talk about, I don't even know if he's got 45 million, Charlie K. I don't know what his assets are, but Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money for somebody to make on a podcast show. He's a whole lot bigger than we are, and he's broadcast a whole lot bigger than we are here on YouTube, but I don't even know if he's got $45 million, especially because I think he was already ordered to pay them some amount of money, but I don't know, but that conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories. You discuss them, you talk about them, you move on. But he would just not let Sandy Hook go. And, that it was all fake and crisis actors and stuff. And, I mean, that, I can only imagine, I mean, he has had, this guy named Larry, who was one of Bill Clinton's top advisors, on his show several times, and talked with him, and they have talked about the Boys on the Tracks case that happened in my hometown. But they told the truth. They didn't turn it into a bunch of lies and stuff. Like he's done with a lot of other conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Yeah, he just, I don't know, conspiracy theories are, you don't know if they're true or not, but I like to hear about them and make up my mind for myself, because I do believe there's a lot of shit that the government hides from us. And, I mean, y'all, I'm sure y'all all know about all the conspiracies about 9/11, and that was done by our own government and George Bush and all that, and but I mean, I do believe the government hides a whole lot of stuff from us. And so, I want to know about this stuff, but he went too far with Sandy Hook. He went way too far. So, hi, Mississippi Granny. How are you? Well, let's oh, and did y'all know that they found Brittany Griner guilty, and she's going to have to do 9 years in a Russian prison. They've already took her to court and had a trial and had her trial and everything. 9 years on some liquid that because they make the liquid cannabis that you can smoke like a vape, and that's what she had on her. But yeah, 9 years in a Russian prison. So I guess we're not going to trade her for that guy that did awful things. There was talk about trading her for some other guy that from Russia that we've got here that did some horrible criminal acts. And so I guess we're not going to trade her. But that's awful, just for some damn weed. Well, that she should have known, because I know. I mean, we have medical marijuana here in Arkansas, which I am approved for. But I have a strict set of rules. I can't travel with it. I couldn't take it to Virginia with me when I went to see my daughter. I can't just walk down the road and smoke it. I can't sit in my car in Walmart parking lot and smoke it. I mean, I have to do it in the privacy of my own house. And, there's strict rules. So, and, some states it's not legal. So, traveling state to state, one thing, but she traveled to another country. And, But she says it was an accident, but I don't know, but I just think it's awful. She's going to have to sit in a damn Russian prison for 9 years over some little bit of weed. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yes, everyone, please hit the subscribe button and share and like this video. I hope you're going to enjoy my topic today. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the name Charles Manson? Most people think monster, murderer, although he never actually killed anyone. He just masterminded it all. You know, I mean, he's technically not a serial killer, but he is lumped in with the most famous, serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy. But technically, Charlie is just, I would say he is the most notorious criminal. Helter Skelter, Helter Skelter. No, yeah. Oh, Charlie was a real gangster, though, Pam or Griff. He was a real gangster. Helter Skelter. Now, Mississippi Granny, you done got me to singing now. Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter. But, which Helter Skelter is not even about a race war. Helter Skelter is about a merry-go-round in London. But, we may get into that later, Mississippi Granny. I have done a lot of extensive research about Charlie, about the family, about yes, he was, Charlie. Yes, he was. And I was born in 1970. I should have been born in the 60s, though, because I am a hippie at heart, and I do love my 60s music. Bob Dylan, Janis Joplin, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, I mean, I love that, Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell, and I mean, I love all that music from the 60s. Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there's no better guitar player in the world than Jimi Hendrix. Yes, and I'm going to get to that, Griff. The Beach Boys did record one of his songs. Okay. But, a lot of people just write Charlie off as a monster, as a murderer, as a criminal. And, people don't know, they don't pay attention. They don't go any further than that. They don't look into his background. They don't look at the way he grew up. And, it's no wonder he turned out the way he did. Yeah, kind of. Spam and grifter. I love it. I do. I love it. But, Charlie was born to a 16-year-old prostitute. And when he was 4 years old, his mom went to prison for 5 years. And he was tossed back and forth between family members. He started, shoplifting and stealing cars and stuff when he was young. He got sent to, numerous boys' homes and reformatories and institutions, and he was in and out of jail and prison, pretty much since he was a kid. And, a lot of people, of course, yeah, a lot of people had a bad childhood, but, he never knew his father. And, he did not have that bonding those first few years. Well, I say he did. His mother was an alcoholic. And, she took him to the bar with her one time, and she was trying to get a pitcher of beer, and a waitress or a patron one made a comment about how cute little Charlie was and all that, and you can have him if you'll give me a pitcher of beer. So, she tried to trade him for a pitcher of beer. And, he just, and then when she went to prison, he got tossed back and forth between family members and was in and out of all these institutions. And those institutions were bad. They were worse than prison. They beat him and all kinds of stuff. It was hard. So, it's no wonder that he grew up so cold. It's hard to think of Charlie actually having feelings or empathy or love or anything about that. But I'm going to get into those things within his music. Yes, trigger warning. I'm not going to discuss, all the abuse he went through on many levels. Mississippi Granny, you're right. But he, but through his music and the songs that he wrote, you see a completely different Charlie, and you hear a man with feelings. And, I understand, believe me, I have watched every documentary you can imagine. I have watched all his interviews and the family's interviews, Susan Atkins, Squeaky Fromm, Patricia Krenwinkel. I've watched all of their interviews and stuff. And, the girls talked about what a captivating and charming person he was, yet, he was manipulating. And Dennis Wilson even referred to him as the wizard. Dennis Wilson was mesmerized by Charlie. But Charlie was in prison in my mind just went totally blank. He was in prison in Terminal Island Prison, one of his stints. And he would play the guitar a lot. But he was singing songs from Frank Sinatra. And yeah, that's true, Charlie K. and stuff like that. And anyway, he met a guy named Phil Kaufman, and Phil Kaufman was doing a short stint, and he really liked listening to Charlie sing. He would sing a song by Frank Sinatra called "The Shadow of Your Smile," and he thought Charlie was just a really nice guy. He enjoyed listening to him play the guitar and stuff. And when Charlie got out of prison in the spring of 1967, he truly wanted to be a singer-songwriter. And Phil Kaufman, having been in the music business, gave him a phone number for a guy named Gary Stromberg at Universal Studios, and told him to contact Gary when he got out of prison. Phil still had to stay behind and do his time, finish out his time. So Charlie set out for California, hitchhiked to California, and he landed in California. And as you know, in the summer of '67, the summer of love, and there was a big music scene in San Francisco in the Haight-Ashbury district. Janis Joplin lived there, Jimi Hendrix, the Grateful Dead. There was a big, music scene there. But, in order to get signed by anybody, of course, you had to go to LA. You had to go to Hollywood. But, during the summer of love between 67 and 69, we had the assassination of John F. Kennedy. We had the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, the assassination of Martin Luther King. And, so all this stuff was going on. And if you remember, or you have studied your history, this did not set well with the youth of that time. That was during the draft. As you remember, Elvis Presley was drafted. And he was at the height of his music career. And, so the whole Summer of Love hippies 60s movement, they were dead set against the Vietnam War. And all this, stuff was happening with JFK and Martin Luther King and all that, their assassinations and whatnot. And the youth of that generation wanted, peace and love and freedom, and freedom of sexuality and things like that. And it was about rebelling against the things that were going on. And one of the things that the hippie movement was about rejecting mainstream culture. And that was one of the things that Charlie didn't like. Well, he was for that, of course, because he didn't like these people who had, these mansions and nice homes and families, and and all this, because, he never had that stuff. He never had a pot to piss in. And he had no, real connection with his family, his mother, his father, and, you know, um, he lived with an aunt and uncle for a while, and, they got tired of him, and, everybody just always kicked him to the curb. So he was against the ego and possessions and things like that. But he went to San Francisco in the spring of 67, and that's where he set out to look for his followers. That's where he met Squeaky Fromm, Susan Atkins, and a couple of the other girls. But when Charlie was in prison, he had this idea that he wanted to be a pimp, and it was just, for him, it was just what he had picked up in prison, I guess. And he had this idea to be a pimp, but so he goes to San Francisco, and he, observes all of what's going on, and, this is what he believes and what he's all for. And so he starts finding, all these girls and stuff, to be his followers and become his family. But, in order to get signed, you had to go to LA. You had to go to Hollywood. That was where all of the people, the record producers and record companies and all that stuff were. So he goes there, and he still got Gary Stromberg's phone number that he got from Phil Kaufman, and he contacts Gary Stromberg. And he goes in for a session and to record some music, and he's not prepared. He just goes in there kind of expecting to wing it or whatever. And he was just very, unprepared, and God forbid, he didn't know the first thing about recording studios or recording music or any of how that stuff went on. Well, Gary wasn't that impressed with him, and whatnot. So he just kind of let him go. And this is when they decided to go to Spawn Ranch. And, because Charlie wanted to, he was disappointed, he was upset. And so this is where some of yeah, he did, Charlie. And this is where he isolates the family at Spawn Ranch, and really giving the drugs and the whole free love and free for all and everything. And but a lot of other people ended up at Spawn Ranch too. There were bikers, there were all kinds of just different drifters that ended up at Spawn Ranch. And Anyway, he would have his girls go, and the music scene in LA, of course, as we all know, was the Sunset Strip. The Whiskey A Go Go, and those clubs, that has always been. Yes, Pam. Spawn Ranch was where they made a lot of the old Western films, and it was no longer being used, and so they just went out there and squatted. Pretty much is what they did. They just moved in and stayed there, and you know lived rent free and uh, lived the life, and but everything was always centered around music. They would sit around in a circle and sing, 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 and listen to Charlie sing. And music was always really the center of things about Charlie. Now when he would do his what they call brainwashing the family, was actually comes from during that time that he arrived in California and went down to San Francisco. There was a lot of preachers and evangelists and stuff, and he was listening to all them and listening to what they were saying and listening to the preaching and whatnot, along with the music that was happening then. So all of this stuff sort of Charlie meshed together, and this was who Charlie became. But he, from Spawn Ranch, he would send the girls into town to go to Sunset Strip and find musicians, anybody in the music business that they could find or whatever, go up and talk to them and whatnot, and try to get us hooked up with somebody in the music business. And it just so happened that the girls were hitchhiking one day, and this good-looking guy pulls up and says, "Hey, you girls need a ride?" Guess who it was? None other than Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. Hey, Arctic Fox, how are you? We are talking about Charlie Manson's music. So Dennis Wilson invites these girls back to his place on Sunset Strip, and they fool around and and do whatever and whatnot, and they go back to Spawn Ranch, and Charlie says, "Well, did you meet anybody today? Who'd you meet? What'd you do? Da 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 da." "Well, it just so happens, yeah, we did meet somebody today. Guy named Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys." Holy shit, everybody stop. Charlie about fell out of his drawers. He was like, no way. He was just floored that those girls had met Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. "Hi, astronaut in the ocean, how are you?" And so Charlie's like, oh my God, where's this guy live? Where's this guy at? Da 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 da. So the girls take Charlie and they all go to Dennis Wilson's house. And Dennis is not home at the time. So, yes, everyone, please share your YouTube channels with everybody. So, it's always important that we share and we band together and support each other. So Arctic Fox, Mississippi Granny, everybody, y'all, share your channels, please. So they go to Dennis Wilson's house, and Dennis Wilson is not home. Well, he comes home and he sees the lights on in his house. Oh, hang on just a second. There you go. Sorry about that, Fox. Dennis Wilson comes home and sees the lights on in his house, and there's this damn school bus parked in his driveway. He's like, what the hell is going on? So he goes in and he sees these girls that, he had picked up hitchhiking, and there's all these naked people and girls and stuff laying around his house, and Charlie walks up, and Charlie's a little bitty guy. He's actually a little bitty guy. And he walks up to Dennis, and this is Dennis's house, not Charlie's house. He walks up to Dennis and he says, and Dennis says, "You're not going to hurt me, are you?" Charlie bends down and kisses Dennis Wilson's feet and says, "Come on in." Yeah, come on in to your own house. So they, party and whatnot, and they end up sort of becoming permanent fixtures of Dennis Wilson's house. And it, just becomes a big party. Well, Dennis's brother Brian Wilson, who was pretty much the brains behind the Beach Boys and whatnot, and wrote their songs and everything. He wasn't impressed with Charlie. But, Dennis just loved him. And so he, then the Beach Boys, they kind of reached, every musician goes through a downward spiral. Their band goes through, oh, yes, Lord, fix that Amber Broken alert system. Thank you, Arctic Fox. Y'all go sign that. And I will too. They go through this, kind of downward spiral, and the band kind of takes a break or whatnot, and Dennis just sort of becomes engulfed with Charlie and the family and whatnot, and then Dennis introduces him to Terry Melcher. And Terry Melcher is responsible for the Birds, which came out about that time. And he is also the son of who was America's sweetheart at that time, Doris Day. And Terry Melcher, does anybody know where Terry Melcher lived? Cielo Drive. Yes. That was the home that Terry Melcher was living in when he met Charlie Manson, which would later become the site of the murder of Sharon Tate and Abigail Folger and Jay Sebring and those people. So they go to Terry Melcher's Cielo Drive home, and they've had it. Sharon Tate, she was a model actress. She was married to Roman Polanski at the time, and they had moved into the home, and Roman Polanski was overseas doing a film, and Sharon was 8.5 months pregnant, and Abigail Folger, of course, is Ghost Adventures. Abigail Folger was the from the Folger Coffee Company. She was to inherit that. And Jay Sebring, she was pregnant, 8.5 months pregnant. Jay Sebring was Sharon Tate's hairdresser. They had previously dated, but they ended their relationship. But the coffee heiress. Even though her and Jay Sebring had a previous relationship, they ended on good terms. They remained friends. He was her hairdresser and whatnot. And so Charlie goes to Gold Star Studios in Van Nuys, California. And he goes in to record, for a recording session with Terry Melcher and Dennis Wilson and them. And, of course, he's got the girls with him and everything. And, I mean, Terry wasn't really, impressed by the girls and all that stuff, it was just too typical, that was just the rock star life. And when he goes in, they just tell him to sing, whatever. And, again, Charlie does not know anything about recording music or how, it works in a recording studio or whatnot. And, so Terry tells him, just tell us what you're going to start with, what are you going to sing for us first, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, how about y'all just turn the recorder on and just record me, and then you can take out all the stuff you don't want in it. So that's what they did. They just hit the recorder. And now you got to get a cup of coffee. Make sure you get Folgers in memory of Abigail Folger. So they just hit the record button, and Charlie starts doing his songs, and Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, he wasn't that great looking, but neither is Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger is ugly as homemade sin, and but he's got charisma. That's what sold him was his charisma. And that's what, sold Charlie was he was very charming, and he was very charming and to all, yeah, he had the personality, and all these uh all these girls were just mesmerized by him. Now he the one of the manipulating parts of Charlie's personality is that he looked for people who were, of course, like-minded as he was, but they had, they were runaways, they were from broken homes, they were insecure, down on their luck. He looked for vulnerable people. Um, and that's how he got, you know, all of these followers and stuff. But anyway, he did this recording in June of 67, and well, he did several different recordings in 67 and then in 68. And anyway, what I want to get into is the lyrics of his music, because that's where you see the Charlie Manson that I can relate to. Maybe you can relate to him. I know that's God, don't take me out of context, please. Um, because like I said, when we think of Charlie, we think of him as, this monster, curial, notorious criminal. But this is not about Charlie the criminal. This is about Charlie the wannabe singer songwriter, which is a completely different person. And through the lyrics of, I love his music. I love this album. Um, you kind of you basically see the Charlie that no one really knows, that kind of only the family and Dennis Wilson, and Phil Kaufman were able to see. But it's through his music that I can relate to him and understand what he's talking about and what he's singing about. And I feel the same way about some of these things that he's singing about and talking about. So that's what I want to get into. And the first song, it's a song called Sick City. And I'm not for sure if he wrote this song about Los Angeles or if he wrote this about San Francisco or what, but this song could be about any of our hometowns. This song could be about any town we have lived in. As a matter of fact, it makes me think about my hometown. Oh, I know. Yeah, they fought over his body. And you know what's crazy is the guy that looks the most like him, that thought Charlie was his father, who looks exactly identical to him. They say he's not biologically his father, but yet the ones that is don't look a damn thing like him. That's what's crazy. So I want to read you the lyrics of this song. You know, this song kind of makes me, you know, think about my own hometown and the scars that come from what happened in 1987, you know, when my friends were murdered and stuff. Restless people from the sick city burn their home down, make the sky look pretty. What can I do? I'm just a person. This is a lie we always seem to hear. You just sit and things get worse and watch TV and drink your beer. You know, and haven't we always heard that? You know, I'm just one person. How can I make a difference? How can one person make a difference? This is the lie we tell ourselves, and this is the lie that people tell us. You know, oh, you're not going to make any kind of a difference in doing anything. Well, I'm not just going to sit here on my ass and do nothing. I'm going to speak up, which is what we all do as YouTube creators for these true crime cases, these missing kids and whatnot. You know, that's what we do. We're not just sitting on our ass. We're doing something to try and make a difference and whatnot. Walking all alone, not going anywhere. Walking all alone, no one seems to care. Restless as wind, this town is killing me. Gotta put an end to this restless misery. That's how I felt when I sold my house in 2017 and I bought my glamper and I left my hometown. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like a stranger in my own hometown. And all that baggage, you know, my mother had passed away, my grandparents passed away. I just didn't have any more friends, you know, and it was time to move on. It was time to move on and leave all that baggage behind. And that's what I did. I'm just one of those restless people that can never be satisfied with living in this sick, sick city. It might be too late for me to say goodbye. Might be too late to watch this sicko city die. Go on the road, yeah, I'm going to try to say, sick city, so long, goodbye, and die. And that's pretty much what I said when I left my hometown behind. The next song that I'm going to talk about is a song called Mechanical Man. And this is a song about basically humans being, and Fox, once my mom and everybody was gone and my kids didn't want to come home, there was no reason for me to stay. Shaughnessy told me, she said, I'll be damned if I put my kids through this school system, you know, that nearly broke me, that nearly broke her. You know, She said, I don't want to come back here. And that was when I made the decision to sell my house and move on. It was time to move on. I didn't have any reason to stay anymore. But this song, Mechanical Man, is pretty much about basically being a robot. Basically being, we do what we're told. We do what the government tells us. We do what our parents tell us. We do what the system tells us to do. And, it's, we have here in America what's called the American dream. You're a kid, your parents take care of you till you're 18, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you do what you're told to do, pretty much. I'm a mechanical man, and I do the best I can because I have my family. I am a mechanical boy. I am my mother's toy, and I play in the backyard sometimes. I am a mechanical boy. I am my mother's toy. A lot of people think of, children, and sometimes parents sort of live through their children a life that they didn't necessarily get to have, such as, and I'm guilty of it too. I had my daughter was in pageants, but you had mothers that put their girls in pageants, or maybe you didn't get to play football or baseball or whatever in school, so you put your son in baseball, and you kind of get through your, live through your child pretty much. It's an illusion, postulated, mocked up through confusion. Confusion, it's an illusion with confusion. Live on in your illusion that won't wear out. I had a little monkey, and I sent him to the country, and I fed him gingerbread. Along came a choo-choo and knocked my monkey cuckoo, and now my monkey's dead. You're so mechanical, and you go and lay down and wonder how a brown cow could say. Y'all ever heard that term, or like when you're, when you go, I think they do this in like finishing school or whatever, because I remember this being on an episode of Beverly Hillbillies when they were trying to teach Ellie how to speak proper or whatever. How now, brown cow? Y'all ever heard that? That's what he's talking about. A brown, and wonder how a brown cow could say. But yeah, that's what, it's just about being a robot, pretty much. And yeah. Then there is, you have what I was talking about earlier, the manipulative side of Charlie, where, he, found these girls and whatnot, and, was able to manipulate them. And as I said, he found girls that were, insecure and whatnot. This song is called Cease to Exist. And this is the song that the Beach Boys actually recorded, except they changed it to Never Learn Not to Love. And they did a different they did it in a different composure or whatever, not the way Charlie had done it. And Charlie was pissed too. He was pissed that they changed his song up and changed the title. But this is kind of one of the songs that he would sing to the girls. Pretty girl, pretty, pretty girl, cease to exist. Just come and say you love me. Give up your world. Come on, you can be. I'm your kind, oh, you're kind, and I can see. You walk on, walk on. I love you, pretty girl. My life is yours. Ah, you can have my world. Charlie had a way, sort of like Elvis did, of making you feel like you're the only one he's singing to. If you watch people talk about Elvis Presley and in the audience and things like that, they will tell you that Elvis had a way of making you feel like he was singing to you and nobody else. And that's kind of how Charlie was. And what he's saying here, he is telling these girls, give up your world and join mine. I love you. You know, some of these girls did not feel loved by their families or whatnot. You know, there were reasons. They all had different reasons of why they left home. But, you know, I love you, pretty girl. My life is yours. And you can have my world. So this is welcoming, you know, this is your love ballad, pretty much. Never had a lesson I've ever learned, but I know we all get our turn. And I love you. Never learn not to love you. That was what the Beach Boys changed the title to, was Never Learn Not to Love. Submission is a gift. Go on, give it to your brother. Love and understanding is for one another. We are all supposed to love and understand each other. And, you know, what he's saying is, you know, submit to me. It's a gift to me for you to submit to me and give it to me. Give it to me, your brother. So, I'm your kind. I'm your brother. Never learn not to love you. This next song is my favorite. Look at your game, girl. There's a time for living. The time keeps on flying. Think you're loving, baby, and all you're doing is crying. Can you feel? Are those feelings real? Look at your game, girl. Look at your game, girl. What he's saying is, are you able to feel? Are you able, are those feelings real? You know, look at your game. You think you're loving, but you're not. And all you're doing is crying about your life. So he's telling them, you know, look at your game. Step up your game. What a mad delusion, living in that confusion, frustration and doubt. Can you ever live without the game? The sad, sad game. Mad game. Just to say your love's not enough, if and you can't be true, You can tell those lies, baby, but you're only fooling you. You think that your love is not good enough for somebody because you can't be true to that person. But those are lies. And, the only person that's getting hurt is yourself. You're only fooling yourself by thinking that you're not good enough for somebody, or that you can't, be true to somebody, or maybe you just don't know how to love. Go on, look at your game, girl. If you can't feel and those feelings are real, then you better stop trying or you're going to play crying. Stop trying or you're going to play crying. Look at your game, girl. Look at your game, girl. So he's, saying, you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself for your sad, sad game. And, this was kind of another song that he kind of, caught the attention of these down on your luck girls. So this is a very compelling song, this next song. And this is the free-spirited Charlie, the need to be free. And I understand this, as I said, I sold my home and I bought my glamper, and, home is wherever I park that glamper. Home is where you're happy. Your home is where you're happy. It's not where you're not free. Your home is where you can be what you are, because you were just born to be. Your home is wherever you can be free, where to be who you are, what you are, and free of judgment and, that kind of thing. Now they'll show you their castles and diamonds for all to see, but they'll show you their peace of mind, but they won't, hang on. But what they won't show you is their peace of mind, because they don't know how to be free. And this is what I was talking about earlier about, these people with mansions and diamonds and pearls and money and personal gain and materialistic stuff. But in all sense of the word, they bleed the same red blood we do. They put their britches on the same way that we do. Their britches just might cost a little bit more. And they have diamonds where we might have cubic zirconias, But what they don't have is a peace of mind. And you don't have to have all this materialistic stuff to have peace. Which brings me to something I was listening to the other night. I was listening to an interview with Mike Tyson. And he said that the best 3 years of his life was when he was in prison. He found peace when he was in prison, when Mike Tyson was in prison. And he said, without peace, nothing means anything. And he said those were the best 3 years of his life, which sounds crazy, but it's true. If you don't have peace in your life, no matter what you got, it's not going to, be, I'm sure y'all have heard the term, you can't buy love, you know. You can go shopping and buy a new outfit, or you can buy a new pair of shoes, or buy a new toy or whatever, just like a kid, and you play with it for a little while and then it gets old, you know. So burn all your bridges, leave your whole life behind. You can do what you want to do because you're strong in your mind. And anywhere you might wander, you can make that your home. Just as long as you got love in your heart, you'll never be alone. Just as long as you got love in your heart, you will never be alone. This is this was the Charlie that was the free spirit, and I understand that all too well. I have always felt like a prisoner. A prisoner of my mind, a prisoner of my life, a prisoner of my hometown, a prisoner of my disability, and I have a lot of dreams at night of running. And I fly in my dreams. Like, run, jump, woo, fly around. Yes, it does, Mississippi Granny. It does. And like I said, this is the Charlie that, no one really knew. And, but in my dreams, I am running from people. I'm running. I don't know. I never see who I'm running from in my dreams, but I'm running from this mob that's chasing me. And I'm running through buildings, like these mazes of buildings, and I'm running and I'm flying from town to town, and I'm flying over to other countries, and I'm flying here and there and just running, and I cannot get away from this mob that's chasing me. So, like I said, I think that has a lot to do with the way I've always felt like a prisoner of my life. And I feel like, now I feel like a prisoner of my disabilities and stuff. I would love to go roller skating. I was an awesome skater. I still think I'm a teenager that can do all of this stuff physically that I cannot do anymore. But in my mind, I can still do it. Just not in my body. So, and I hate that. That hurts me. This next song is, you really see a raw Charlie. And These lyrics will make you cry. They will. The song is called My World. My world is a sad world. Often wonder if there's blame. Such a fool in a mad, mad world with no picture in my frame. What he's saying is his world is a sad world, and he wonders if there's anyone to blame for his world. Such a fool in a mad, mad world. And y'all know this is a crazy ass world. I mean, we are at the height of evil in this world. Y'all know that. We're in the true crime community. The rest of the world out there may not know it, but we know it. With no picture in my frame. We all have family portraits. We all have pictures of us as kids with our parents, with our families growing up. We have pictures of us with our kids now, our grandkids, our friends and whatnot. But Charlie didn't have that. So he doesn't have family portraits. He has no picture in his frame. That's sad. That's heartbreaking. It's truly heartbreaking. Everyone says, crazy fool, you're always gazing at the night, with my arms around a tree, loving life with all my might. He loved life no matter what shit he had been through, no matter how tough things were. Okay, well, if you get back and we're still on, come back and join us, Mississippi Granny, or just go back and listen to the rest of it of where you left off. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm glad you enjoyed this. Y'all be careful. Crazy as it may seem, not knowing what to do, living with one crazy dream in a frantic world of blue. I awake every evening and somehow stumble through the night. Such a fool in a mad, mad world, loving life with all my might. This is where he's talking about his dream. And his dream was to be a singer-songwriter. And, he's living with this crazy dream of his, but, he's lives in this sad world, and I awake every evening and somehow stumble through the night. He's a night owl. So what he's saying is he's stumbling through life. He's stumbling, through the night. Such a fool in a mad world, loving life with all my might. My world is a sad world. Often wonder if there's blame. Such a fool in a mad, mad world, with no picture in my frame, and no love, and no one to blame. That is just, it's heartbreaking. That is truly heartbreaking. No matter how evil and horrible, the crimes that he committed and all that he and the family did, and it's not an excuse for it's certainly not an excuse for what they did. Because I had a shitty childhood too, and I ain't killed nobody. This last song is actually the title of this um, podcast, this live. And it's called Eyes of a Dreamer. It's all in the eyes of a dreamer. It's all in the eyes of a man. All the things we've done in life and all the things we've planned. Is the world as sad as it seems? Where are men's hopes? Where are men's dreams? In the eyes of a dreamer, in the eyes of a man, all the songs have been sung, and all the saints have been hung. The wars and cries have been wailed. All the people have been jailed. In the eyes of a dreamer, in the eyes of a man, and you are the man. This is, this is kind of, it's like he's living in a hopeless kind of a hopeless situation, and this is during, at the time of the, excuse me, my back's itching. This is the time of the Vietnam War, and all that, and it's all the songs have been sung, and all the saints have been hung, and the wars and cries have been wailed, meaning, wailing, they've been cried. And all the people have been jailed. So, it's all in the eyes of a dreamer. Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more song. I totally forgot about this song. And this is the song pretty much that, Charlie has been seen as. These are the lyrics that the world sees Charlie as. People say I'm no good. People say I'm no good, but they never do they say why their world is so mixed up or how it got that way. Y'all say I'm a bad person and I'm not a good person or whatever, but you're no better than I am. Your life is, fucked up too. How'd your life get fucked up? You want to say I'm no good. Now, who does this remind us of? Certain creators who like to throw mud at everybody else. Oh, he's a drug addict. Oh, he's been to jail. Oh, she's been to, they want to throw stones at glass houses. And then they're just as much they're no better than we are, Yeah, we won't say any names, though. I don't want to get Max stirred up. They all look at me and frown. Do I really look so strange? If they really dug themselves, I'd know they'd want to change. Meaning, if they cared about themselves, they'd want to change. Everybody says you're no good because you don't do like they think you should. Do you expect them? And do you expect you to act like them? Look at them, man. Look at the fix they're in. I don't care. I don't care what they say. Just let them sit there and burn. The young might not be so dumb after all. And from the young, you might even learn. You know, these lyrics here is, you know, the teens were rebelling against their parents, you know, and like I said, they were all against all this Vietnam War and all that stuff. And, and, what he's saying is these young people might not be so dumb after all. You might listen, you might learn something from them. Everybody says you're no good. Because, Charles, you don't do. You don't do like they think you should. Do you expect them to act like you? Do you expect them to expect you to act like them? Do you expect to see? Do you expect the fool to see what a fix he's in? In your cardboard houses and your tin can cars, you sit there and wonder. You wonder where you are. Those diamond rings, they're obscene. You sit there and wonder, and you say who's to blame. Take a look at yourself. Take yourself off the shelf. You can't belong to nobody. With your can't cough medicine and your wonder drugs, you got more sickness than you got cures of. Cancer of the mind. What do y'all think about that? What he's saying to the rest of the world that looks down on him is you're no better than me, and your life truly ain't no better than mine, because you don't belong to you. You know, I don't know if y'all realize this, but people in the music business, it's a new form of slavery. Those people don't own themselves no more when they sign a record contract. And maybe it's a good thing that he didn't get a record contract, because they don't own them. These people don't own themselves no more. They don't own the own freaking music that they wrote and they sung. Taylor Swift was so pissed when what's that dude that discovered Justin Bieber bought her catalog. Scooter Braun. She hates Scooter Braun. And Michael Jackson, a company owns him. His own mother, who gave birth to him, does not own him. She does not own the rights to his name that she gave him. She does not own the rights to his singing. I'm going to get to that, Charlie. These people don't own themselves. Even in death, they don't own themselves. Prince don't own himself. Y'all remember when he changed his name to a symbol and wrote slave on the side of his face? And I don't know if y'all were that's why, yeah, exactly. And that's why a lot of these people are doing it now. They're putting out their own music. Um, and through social media, we have our own platforms to promote ourselves and promote each other. But back in those days, you had to have a promoter. You had to hire someone to do it, and do press and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have the luxury of social media and and whatnot. So, now we do, and that's a good thing. But people just need to, be a little more. They need to put out positivity instead of negativity. And personally, I kind of think that reality TV, and we're all guilty of watching it. Reality TV truly burned us. And what we see now on YouTube, yeah, you had to kind of know somebody to get in the door. Yeah. And it was just by chance of luck that that Charlie even met Dennis Wilson. But I think that reality TV has really burned us. And now that we're bored with reality TV, and we've seen everything, basketball wives, housewives of every town, little people, prison wives, I mean, the Kardashian, we've seen all these families, and and their drama and stuff in reality TV. And then you got all these reality shows of people with problems, celebrity boot camp and celebrity family boot camp and all that crazy stuff. And now we go to YouTube, and it's just it's a step below reality TV. And because no one has any imagination anymore. I mean, look at a lot of the movies and TV shows. They're rebooting them all. A lot of stuff from the 80s and stuff, it's all being rebooted because no one has any imagination. And some of these reboots I've been happy about. I was happy about the 90210 reboot. I was happy about the Punky Brewster reboot. And they didn't pick that up for a second season, and I was pissed. But you've got the fucking Kardashians. 10 years they were on TV. Now they're on Hulu with a different show. But it's still all about them. They're old and tired. But anyway, exactly, Charlie K. No, okay, you were talking about his music coming out on an album. Getting back to the story of Charlie, when he really got his hopes up with Terry Melcher, and he, Terry Melcher just didn't think that he was ready, but he really wouldn't give him an answer, yes or no. And he kind of just left Charlie to sit and ponder and wonder, am I going to get a recording contract or not? So, they go back to Spawn Ranch and everything, and he finally, gets a no from Terry Melcher. And this is when all of the bad stuff starts happening. This is when Charlie gets angry and he gets, he's out for revenge. And he, he, and this is when the Beatles' White Album had come out. And all the fucking LSD and they were doing and weed and stuff, he thought that the Beatles were speaking to him through the White Album. And the song Helter Skelter was about a race war. And that, because, like I said, we were going through we'd been through the assassination of Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement and all that. And so the black man was about to get what they wanted, and they were going to take over. The lyrics in Helter Skelter goes from the top to the bottom and back up to the top again. Well, he was perceiving it as how the black man went from the is at the bottom and they're going to the top again. Like I said, never mind, this is a ride in London. It's not what he's talking about. But he's thinking that they're saying the black man is going to rise to the top. When the truth be told, I can't remember the guy's name, but Charlie shot this black guy and thought he killed him, but the dude lived. So it has been speculated as to, because of that he wanted to kickstart off this race war and make it look like, black people were going out and killing these rich white people. And it has also been speculated that he sent the family to Cielo Drive to kill Terry Melcher. Because, as I said earlier, that's where Terry Melcher, they wrote Pigs, which is, that's kind of the name that black people were known to call the police, is the Pigs. And of course, we have all sorts of names for them: the Pigs, the Fuzz, the Popo, the 5-0, whatever. But anyway, so he sends Tex Watson and the family to Cielo Drive. And that's where they, commit the murders of Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger, and Jay Sebring, and there was a security guard or a driver. Tex Watson shot him right in the front seat of the car. And then the next night, they go to the La Bianca house, which, as peculiar little story behind the La Bianca house, is Phil Kaufman, who had, he had met in prison and had given him this Gary Stromberg's name and phone number, to contact. Phil Kaufman lived in the house that was had formerly lived in the house that was next to the La Bianca house. And, the La Bianca house was 15 miles away from the Tate house, Cielo Drive house. So did he go? It's been speculated as to why they picked that particular house, the La Bianca house, and don't really know. But I think it's peculiar that Paul Kaufman coincidentally, used to live in the house next door to the La Bianca house. Of course, he wouldn't have actually, when Phil Kaufman got out of prison, he came to California and he joined the family for a while. And he didn't like what was going on. And he was seeing a whole different Charlie than what he had seen in prison. Guy sitting there playing the guitar, singing Frank Sinatra, he saw the angry, pissed Charlie. And he hung around for a while and he got out. He left. But, so that is when Charlie was arrested and put in jail. Lynette Squeaky Fromm, and I got to tell y'all a funny story about her. She went to Phil and said, Phil, we've got to get Charlie's music out there. We've got for people to hear. Hi, brown-eyed girl. We've got to get Charlie's music out. So they go and finagle Charlie's music out of Terry Melcher, and they released it in March of 1970 through a record company that Phil had called Awareness Records. And what they were trying to do was, get money for Charlie, to fight his case and all that. And but unfortunately, it wasn't received. His music just wasn't received as well as what they thought it would be. And they thought with his infamy at the time that, it would do better, but it kind of backfired and it didn't. So, but the cover was taken from, Charlie was on the front of Life magazine. And so that is the cover of his Life magazine cover, but they took the F out and it says lie. And the love and where it had the like company and price or whatever, they put the Love and Terror Cult, or the barcode or whatever. I can't remember. But anyway, and what they were trying to say is that this what they're saying about Charlie is a lie. You know, he didn't commit this crime. He didn't kill nobody. You know, he swears that he did not order these people to go and kill anyone. They did what they did of their own free will. But, you know, this is where we get into the crazy Charlie. And, you know, he has never taken responsibility for any of that. He will flat tell you, I didn't kill those people. I didn't tell nobody to kill those people. If they perceive that I did or whatever, that's on them, you know. But, he, you know, and then like I said, that's kind of where we get into the crazy Charlie, and you hear he talks in circles, and he won't just come out and say yes or no, you know. He'll change the subject, and he'll talk about stuff that don't pertain to the question that was asked of him. But he will flat tell you that I didn't kill nobody, and I didn't tell them people to kill nobody. What they did's on them. I'm not responsible. I'm responsible for me. And, you know, hi, Dan Hinkle. Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper. So anyway, that is the story behind the music of Charlie Manson, and how it was his dream to be a singer-songwriter when he set out for California. He didn't set out to become the most infamous criminal in American history. You know, and throughout his years in prison, you know, after he was found guilty and all that, he continued to have followers. Squeaky Fromm. If y'all know who Lynette Squeaky Fromm is, she is the girl, his followers, that tried to kill President Ford. She tried to assassinate President Ford. And anyway, she run off one time from jail or something, escaped or did something. And anyway, a friend of mine, he's a retired federal marshal. And some of y'all have seen me tell this story in other chats. But he was actually stationed in Milwaukee when Jeffrey Dahmer happened. And he was one of them that had to go in and tote all that mess out of his house, out of Dahmer's house. And if y'all know anything about Jeffrey Dahmer, y'all know what he did with them people, which I ain't going to discuss. But he also was one of the federal marshals who had to go chase down Squeaky Fromm. And when she run off, yeah, he did make Helter Skelter a hit, really, by the Beatles. You know, he made that song famous forever. You know, I mean, kids today know what Helter Skelter is. They know about Helter Skelter. You know, Charlie's one of the, most infamous criminals in American history, and he'll be remembered, forever. And that song, Helter Skelter, will always be related to the Tate LaBianca murders. And, to my understanding, Charlie was actually racist. He was very racist. But he had this idea. Oh, I know. I love Motley Crue's cover of it. I love hearing Vince Neil sing it. But he what was I saying? It that will be remembered forever. But he was actually racist. So for him to, it's never really made sense to me why he he thought he thought there was going to be a race war, and he thought that the black man was going to rise to the top. But when nothing happened, he that's when he said, okay, we're going to have to show them how to do it. And so that's why he kickstarted this Helter Skelter and did that, committed these crimes, and the family committed these crimes, and wrote pigs and death to pigs and Helter Skelter and all that. But I don't honestly think that the police ever thought, to my understanding, I don't think the police ever thought that these were black people that committed the Tate LaBianca murders. I've never heard that. When you go to a crime scene and you see what happened, and unless it's obvious of who committed the crime, that's your first thing, is you've got to set out to find, okay, who did this. And I don't think that they ever thought that black people had committed these crimes. So, I just don't know what he was really thinking. Like I said, he had done so much LSD and stuff that he thought the Beatles were communicating with him through their music, through the White Album, and thought that Helter Skelter was talking about a race war. But who can understand really, you know, his thought behind all that. Like I said, I can't even relate to that. I can't even relate to the horrible things that the family did to them. And but what I can relate to is, yes, he is a narcissist. Oh gosh, if you've ever heard I think Pink Floyd's talked to a few of us back in the day. Oh my God, y'all. I I went and saw Beavis and Butthead Do America at the movie theater, high as a kite. And oh my God, yeah. It yeah, it's even funnier when you're that movie's even funnier when you're smoking weed. So, but what I can relate to Charlie about is when you was comfortably numb. Yeah, I have become comfortably numb, which is how I would like to be right about now. But I can relate to Charlie and these lyrics and his music and the things that he has said and the things that the way he felt, because I see things for now from a more enlightened place in my life, and a more spiritual and place in life that I didn't before, and I see things for what they truly are and how they truly are and why they truly are. And these are the things that, this is 2022. And this was the 1960s. So Charlie saw this stuff long before I did. But and it's a mad world that we live in. It truly is. It's a mad world. And it's a fucked up, confused world too. Because, the people that are supposed to protect us are the ones that are hurting us. Um, you know, we're losing our freedoms, we're losing our rights, slowly but surely, whether you agree with those rights and freedoms and whatnot that are being taken away from us. The fact is, they are being taken away from us, and we are just living in a mad world. I don't know what the crime rate is right now, but it's got to be the highest it's ever been, because people are killing their kids left and right, people are killing each other left and right, just evil, just committing straight up evil crimes, and human trafficking and child PRON, and we're living in a place where yes, women's rights will go first, but because and it's yeah, you're exactly right, astronaut. we were there was a place in time when women couldn't even vote, and our place was in the home, barefoot and pregnant and taking care of the kids and cooking the meals and doing the dishes, and daddy gets the biggest piece of chicken. And you know that's just the rules set before us. And these are some, the things that Charlie, was talking about in a couple of these songs. And you doing what you're told, and how the simple form, the formula for life is how you live, how you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to be someone that rebels and goes against the system, and that's why the media keeps us arguing all the time, through the mainstream media. That's why they keep us in turmoil all the time. It's the same formula that Adolf Hitler used. And it's they want to keep us separated. They want to keep us fighting amongst each other, and because God forbid, if we all banded together, the government wouldn't stand a chance against us. If we all banded together and said, look, we've had enough. You're not going to take our rights away from us. You're not going to do this to us. You're not going to do blah, blah, blah. And, so it's called divide and conquer. And that's why they keep us arguing. And, unfortunately, it's, we see it going on here right in our own true crime, true crama community. These people with these clickbait channels and drama channels and whatnot, they just keep the shit stirred up, and they keep slinging out lies and stuff about people. And lives by a house divided. And they keep this drama going with these other creators, and it's just back and forth, and everyone has lost sight of why we're here in the first place. What initially brought so many of us together was the Summer Wells case. And now Summer, she's just been lost amongst all of the drama and chaos and BS and lies and spun stories and stuff, to the point that, none of it's even about Summer anymore. It's about creators bashing other creators and stuff. And so many have lost sight. And that's why I am so adamant about us good creators trying to, band together and support each other's channels, and do, you're exactly right, Dan Hinkle, and support each other, and because we do have a good community here. And we all do something different, and we all learn about different topics and different things from different people. You've got Arctic Fox and True Crime and Coffee and them who do really good work on missing kids and get that information out. Um, I do something different. I discuss old cases, I discuss new cases, I discuss trials that are going on. Um, I have a podcast over on Spotify if y'all would like to check that out, if you haven't done so already. It's also called the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast on Spotify. And I've, discussed many of the trials and stuff that have been going on these last couple of years and whatnot. I'm kind of at a standstill right now because all of the cases that I'm covering, everybody's in jail waiting for a trial. Thank you. It matters. Everybody's in jail waiting for their trial dates and stuff. So, and I know what's going to happen this fall, come, September, October, November, they're all going to hit. And I'm going to be back-to-back cases again like I was last fall, with going from back-to-back cases and back-to-back trials. And then there's cases that I'm following that happened back in 2018 and 2019 that they're in jail. They're still waiting to go to trial. And there right now, for some of them, there's no trial date in sight. There's guesstimations, like possibly November and whatnot. And then some of them, like I said, don't even have a trial date yet. We may see. We're supposed to allegedly see the Crumbleys go to trial in October, November. Unless those get delayed. Megan Boswell, baby Evelyn Boswell, she's supposed to go to trial maybe in, I think, November. But the Daybells, they're not going to go to court till they're not going to go to trial till January of 2023. The couple who killed Cupcake McKinney, they don't have a trial date set, and that happened in 2019. Gloria Williams and Brian Coulter, they don't have a trial date yet. The people who kidnapped Trinity Case in Hot Springs, Arkansas, they don't have a trial date yet. It's been a year. We still don't know what happened to Summer. We still don't know what happened to Michael Monkey Vaughn. And it's just, the world is moving every day, but it feels like, our world is dragging on. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I'm about ready to wrap it up too, Pam. And my daughter and granddaughter will be back home here pretty soon. They had to go to Walmart and go meet my ex-mother-in-law and whatnot. But everything is just slow dragging. Um, well, I mean, look at Nicholas Cruz. Is just now in the sentencing phase of his trial, of his case, and it that happened 4 years ago or 3 years ago. We lost 2 years because of COVID, and so all these people are sitting in jail, and the courts are just backed up like bad sewage. Um, so, but hopefully we're going to see some of these cases go to trial and this fall and at the beginning of the year and of 2023, and if no more other crazy shit happens and whatnot. But I hope you all have enjoyed my live today, and talking about the music of Charlie Manson. Um, y'all go and listen to it. Go and listen to the songs that I have, and I didn't go over all the songs that are on the album, but just look it up. It's called, you can search on YouTube, or just Google um, Charlie Manson music or Lie, the uh, Cult and Terror. But listen to his songs, and listen to the lyrics, and like I said, I'm an Aries, so I can't. I would die without music. I would literally die without music. That's how Aries are. Um, Aries are, they love music, and they're artistic, and if y'all saw my playlist, y'all would think that, oh my God, this girl can't make up her mind. I've got my 60s playlist music, I've got my 70s playlist music, I've got my 80s, I've got my 90s, I've got my disco, I've got my gangster rap, um, you know, and it's whatever mood I'm in. Yes, music is my life. It's just whatever mood I'm in. But I'll tell you this, that the 60s and 70s are my place of peace. I can put on my 60s and 70s playlists, kick back in my easy chair outside, and just, the rest of the world does not exist. Yep, I listen to everything but opera. But I wish I could sing like an opera singer. I mean, I wish I could get that high, of a range. I mean, back when I was in school, I sang in the soprano section of my school choir and whatnot. But hell, I've smoked since I was 16 years old. So now I say, now I sound like the love child of Merle Haggard and Courtney Love when I sing. So, um, but I love to sing. I have I don't know if you call it a channel or whatnot, but over on Star Maker, it's called Star Maker, and it's a karaoke singing app, and I've recorded over 100 songs over there on that. Um, I'm under my Twitter name over there, Hippie Hillbilly 70. But yeah, if y'all like to sing, go sign up for Star Maker. It's free, um, and you can sing um, on there, and I mean I love it, you know. But anyway, well, I want to really thank everybody for coming in today and listening to my show, and hope to see you back again, Brown Eyed Girl and Dan Hinkle and It Matters, Spam and Grifter, Griff and Pam. Uh, I love you guys to death. Charlie, I love you. Charlie K. Um, Mississippi Granny, Arctic Fox. Y'all want to know about missing kids? Y'all go over to Arctic Fox's channel. Like I said, I just love him and True Crime and Coffee and that crew. They really do a lot of good work with missing kids and whatnot. And you know, I just really appreciate you all coming in today and listening to something different for a change. And yes, it's called Star Maker, Brown Eyed Girl. And I'm under. You should be able to. You should be able to find me. Hippie HIPPIE underscore girl 70. I have posted I actually did a couple of songs for Summer Wells, and did a video for her birthday and did a video for her 1 year of missing, and took songs from Star Maker, and I'd be damned if I didn't get a copyright strike here on YouTube. So I don't understand how other people play music and stuff and they get away with it. But I mean, I'm not monetized, so they don't. A copyright strike thing doesn't really hurt me that much. But everyone have a wonderful day, and please always remember, be the change that you wish to see in this world. Don't sit around and expect somebody else to do it. You get up and do it. Just like Charlie said in one of his songs. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out, everyone. Have a great day. Love you all.